Hey everybody, I'm back and I really need Peru to kind of stop popping off right now because I have no time to film any content other than Peru content. What is happening? I have a Sedona vlog that I want to get up for you guys, but Peru just keeps coming through with this alien stuff. So what are they up to today? Let's get into it. And this one is fresh. This one is like happening right now. Yesterday, Tuesday, September 11th, was Mexico's first public congressional hearing on unidentified anomalous phenomenon, otherwise known as UAPs, otherwise known as UFOs. Journalist and UFO researcher Jaime Maussan presented to the Mexican Congress what he claims are two alien corpses. They're not really mummies, I guess, but we'll get into really what they are, but two preserved alien beings that he says that he discovered in 2017 excavating in Peru. What's with aliens in Peru? You know, though, we had the Incas there, and there are the Machu Picchu, and there's a lot of stuff about Peru. I think Peru is a very spiritual place. There's a lot of stuff going on there. I should probably do another video, like a deep dive on the history of like all the spiritual stuff that happens in Peru, because that might help us shed some light on some of this very weird recent activity that's going on. But essentially, this guy, Jaime, goes up and he shows these two bodies that he says come from aliens for all of Congress to see.
Scientists in Mexico pulling back the curtain on what they believe are aliens and put two of those corpses on display. Take a look. These small mummified specimens were unveiled at Mexico's first ever UFO hearing yesterday. Yeah, it looks like E.T. You're right. The alleged alien corpses were found in Peru. They're believed to be 700 to 1,800 years old. They only had 3 fingers and elongated heads. X-rays of the aliens were also shown, and experts say one of the bodies has eggs inside of it. Maybe we could have alien babies.
A lot going on in Peru.
Yeah.
Right. So is this real? Do people believe this?
I don't know.
As Leslie Lopez says, we want DNA samples.
Yeah.
Right.
And then we're eventually going to find out that aliens look nothing like we think they look.
No.
It look nothing like E.T.
It looks like a stone carving.
So what Jaime Maussan is saying is he's saying that he's found these two beings, and he's saying that he tested their DNA, and 1/3 of their DNA is not recognizable or an unknown species. He goes on to say that these specimens are not part of our evolutionary history on Earth. So basically, these things didn't come from Earth. Maussan also produced what he's claiming are X-rays that are showing eggs inside of one of these beings. Really quick, before we get too far in today's video, I wanted to remind you, if you haven't already subscribed, go ahead and subscribe, hang out, click the little notification bell. That way, every time I post weird new alien content, you'll be the first to know. Okay, let's jump back into the video. Maussan appeared under oath in front of the Mexican Congress, and he also claims that these specimens were studied at the Autonomous National University of Mexico. He says there that they performed different tests on these beings, including carbon dating and the drawing of DNA. I wanted to jump in here really quick with some research that I did about this university, the National Autonomous University of Mexico. This is a very reputable school. It's a public research university in Mexico, and it's widely regarded as a top research university in Latin America. In fact, all 3 of Mexico's Nobel laureates were all alumni of this school. This is a well-known teaching university. It's a research university. It's consistently ranked high. So my hope would be that we could trust the results that come back from this university. I think that they're going to have a little more credence than if they came from a university that wasn't maybe as reputable. The carbon dating, according to Maussan and these specialists, date these beings as being between 700 and 1,800 years old. 7-year-old Maussan was quoted as saying, "These specimens are not part of our terrestrial evolution. These aren't beings that were found after a UFO wreckage. They were found in diatom, which is algae, mines, and were later fossilized." So Maussan saying that these beings were discovered very well preserved in this, essentially an algae mine where there was very little deterioration. Apparently, I believe, if I understand correctly, it's a lack of oxygen that gets into these mines, which prevents the decomposition process. Therefore, these specimens have been preserved pretty well, actually. Now, before we get too excited, you guys, because I know I saw this, I saw the alert on my phone and I got super excited and I jumped up and I ran and I started searching and researching, trying to find everything I could because I thought, oh my gosh, like this is it, right? Jaime Mawson is not without his own issues when it comes to credibility. In 2015, he also found in Peru what he claims were mummified skeletons of aliens, which looked fairly similar to the ones that he presented yesterday. The beings that were found in 2005 had 3 fingers and an elongated head, just like the specimens that he put on display, but after careful examination, it was determined to be a hoax. So here we are in 2017, and he's presenting different mummies that do look fairly similar to the one that he found in 2015, and he's under oath. So I don't really know on this one yet how this is going to turn out. I think the most important thing is that we need to see the science.
Yeah, so first of all, those are not images of alien corpses in Mexico. Those are presented as actual alien mummified aliens from like 1,000 years ago. So here's what you do. When we went to the moon, we brought moon rocks back, and NASA allowed scientists of the world to analyze those rocks. It shared samples with everyone rather than give it to only one lab. So if those are actual mummified aliens found in Mexico or wherever they were, I overheard the press conference, they said they carbon-14 dated it. It has 30% overlap DNA with humans. If those are aliens, that would be amazing. But in science, you need verification from independent sources. So what they should do, as we know from mummies, there's still a soft tissue in the mummies. If he carbon-14 dated that, I don't know if he did it on the soft tissue or on the bones, but my point is, you share the data with other laboratories. And when you have agreement among what is measured, then you can talk about it as a discovery. But the press loves chasing singular stories by one laboratory that says no one else has this, but we do. You all just run to that and report it like it's the truth. So, but science is not established by single measurements or observations.
If Jaime Mawson can provide the science and the data that shows, like, I want to see the DNA. I want to see the DNA samples, and I want to hear from experts, like, what does it mean? I don't really know what to make of all of this, but what I do know is that I find this fascinating, and I think that it's interesting that it keeps coming back to these same places. And I'm wondering if there's something more to this. The Pentagon has created a new website, and it's where people can go in and they can report if they have any experiences with UAPs. Unfortunately, the site is not very functional, and the area where you're supposed to actually report UAPs says it's coming soon. It's not even up. It's like the Pentagon already knows and they don't really care. Like, they already know what's going on, but they're putting this out there because out of response for the congressional hearings, they want people to feel, I don't know, informed, powerful, but they don't really care because obviously, like, they already know what's going on, right? But with that being said, there is some interesting stuff on their website. They actually have a map where they show UFO activity or UAP activity hotspots in the world. Take a look at this map. Although South America is not shown as a hotspot on this map, there are some other interesting places of note that I want to point out. So let's take a look at this. So looking at this map, we're going to start with Hawaii. Hawaii is highlighted as a place that has seen increased UAP activity. Also around California, Arizona, Nevada, and New Mexico. Those are all very interesting spots, right? Then we see the east coast of the United States. We see this area going across the Middle East. There's a little spot where Ukraine is, and also highlighted is Hiroshima and Nagasaki, Japan. There's a few other places in the ocean that are highlighted in spots here and there, but the big ones that have the most activity or the higher level of reports are those places. Can you think of anything significant about any of these places? Because I can. So let's really look at this. We have to remember, between 1943 and 1945, here in America, we were testing out the atom bomb. And the areas where these tests were taking place was in the desert of the United States Southwest. And you'll see there's a lot of activity. If you're not familiar with the Roswell alien crash of 1942, I have a video here that tells more about it that I'll leave linked. Go ahead and click on that so you can learn more. So 1942, we had the alien crash in Roswell, New Mexico. 1943 to 1945, we're testing atom bombs out in the desert of America's Southwest. In 1945, the United States dropped 2 atom bombs on Japan. One was on Hiroshima and one was on Nagasaki. These two areas are incredibly lit up for UAP activity. I also find it interesting that there's a spot that's highlighted in the Ukraine. Ukraine currently in a terrible war with Russia, suspected of having nuclear power. We see these spots in the Middle East. Some of these areas are said to have nuclear weapons. Seeing Hawaii highlighted, it makes me think of when Pearl Harbor was bombed, which was what brought us into the Second World War and was the catalyst for the US dropping those atom bombs on Japan. And then we have the east coast of the United States. During the Cuban Missile Crisis, we moved a lot of nuclear weapons to that side of the country so that they would be ready to launch at a moment's notice. And I would strongly believe that they're probably still there to this day. Now, these are all just theories, and I could just be saying crazy things that aren't even true. But I have to tell you, I don't know. I think that this is really weird and interesting and makes a lot of sense. When I saw this map and it first popped up and I saw the hot spots, I was like, immediately was like, oh, nuclear weapons. Like, this is where the nukes are in the world. So of course, there's going to be more alien sightings because maybe they're trying to prevent us from blowing up our world. You never know. I mean, we don't know what their intentions are, but I don't know. I think that that's a really good theory. And I think it's interesting that they show up in 1942, or they don't show up, but we start seeing more stories being printed, and it becomes more common to hear stories of UFOs or UAP sightings or alien sightings. I don't know. I think it's an interesting connection, and I definitely think it's something that, should be explored. I don't know, you guys. I think we're just at the beginning of, the disclosure of things being released to the public. And I think it's going to be very interesting, and we're going to see a lot more. When it comes to this particular story, I don't know if this is going to end up being true or a hoax. Of course, I would love for this to be true because I love weird stuff, but Jaime Maussan doesn't have the best track record as far as being honest. Unless I see the actual scientific data, I don't know how much I can believe him yet. So let me know what you guys think about these aliens and that these bodies were supposedly found in Peru and all of this stuff that's going on. So let me know down below what you guys think. What are your thoughts? What are your opinions? Do you think that this Jaime guy is, just a quack that's done a hoax, or do you think that there's more to this? Also, what are your thoughts on this map from the Pentagon that show UFO hotspots? Do you have any theories as to why those places are more popular or have more alien activity supposedly than anywhere else? So be sure to leave your comments down below. Be nice to everybody down in the comments. Thank you so much today for checking out my video. If you like this content, please be sure to give it a thumbs up on your way out. It's a great way to help out my channel. And also, if you haven't subscribed, what are you waiting for? Subscribe, hang out, let's be friends. Let's talk about weird stuff. Let's talk about aliens. I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.